DJU to FSU alongside Corey Clark, the lead writer, senior writer here at Warchant.com. My name is Tom Lang. Florida State has their quarterback in 2024 in the form of Oregon State transfer DJ Uiagalelei. Okay, Florida State now has their guy. Corey, your initial thoughts as the quarterback market kind of went nuts on New Year's Day.
I think by November I'll be able to pronounce it. I'm going to try. I mean, I got 11 months before the Florida game. I will have it. I'll be able to pronounce it without tripping up myself. Yeah, man. I think everybody's wish list started with Cam Ward, but then when you looked at what happened in the last week or so, you're like, as a Florida State fan, I think a lot of Florida State fans were like, well, are we not going to get Cam Ward, but Miami's going to get Cam Ward? That's not good. Yeah. So that's how it looked like the tea leaves were reading for a little bit. And now it looks as if Cam Ward declared for the NFL, and then you got the second best guy on the market who might be really good. I mean, I don't know the difference between Cam Ward and DJU. I do know that DJU struggled mightily at the end of his career at Clemson, but looked like a different player at Oregon State. So that's what's so encouraging going into this year, Tom, is that you got a guy that, he got out of that. Look, we all know Clemson's offense hasn't been good since Trevor Lawrence left. He got out of a bad offense and a bad culture in that offense, I guess. I don't know what's going on there. Went to Oregon State, cleared the deck, cleared the slate, and turned into a really nice quarterback. And that's what Florida State needs here in 2024. They don't need a super-duper star first-round pick. They need a good, solid quarterback, and that's what this kid is.
Yeah, agreed. I was looking at some of the numbers because we've had weeks to consider the whole Cam Ward versus DJU thing and how it fits Florida State. And Cam is more explosive as a player. There's a lot of highs, but there's more lows, Corey. What you're getting with DJ in terms of the consistency factor is something more that you can count on than with Cam Ward. And what I mean by that is Cam turned the ball over a lot at Washington State.
He fumbled a lot, yeah.
He fumbled a lot. He was credited per PFF, but credited with 14 fumbles this season, which, I mean, that's a ton of putting the ball on the ground, which is something that if you're trying to piece something together, turnovers, just they shoot you in the foot. And this Florida State team is going to need a little bit more dependability. That's the plus for DJU. But we all know that there are times, Corey, that he looks less than stellar. And there are times where that cannon of an arm really shows itself. And in Mike Norvell's offense, I think if you're just talking about fit and scheme fit, getting a guy like Cam Ward out of the air raid is not as good of a fit as DJU, who ran Jonathan Smith's offense at Oregon State, which was very multiple. Pro-style concepts. They're under center at times. They use the H-back, the fullback, a lot of motions. There's a lot of similarities in what Oregon State does week to week to what Mike Norvell does week to week. So I think if you're just talking about fit, based on what he ran last year, DJ actually is kind of a smoother transition for Florida State. It's just very important, Corey, that the momentum for FSU, which has been so negative, that was the longest month in program history, December of 2023. Now you turn the page on the new year, and it seems like Florida State can now build around the centerpiece because they do get their quarterback.
Yeah, they've gotten some other good news here on New Year's Day. Patrick Payton is coming back. That was made official by the Battle's End. Darius Washington is coming back. Those two are your big-time players coming into next year. I think Patrick Payton has a chance to be a star, but this is obviously the most important position on the field. And now let's see what so you have look, man, you can't overstate the value of a experienced quarterback. You know what you're getting. You have no idea what Brock Glenn is going to be next year. None. You hope he'd be great, but you just don't know. There's nothing that's been proven to tell you one way or the other. It could be a disaster. I'm not predicting it would be a disaster, but it could be a disaster. You know it's not going to be a disaster with this kid. You know this kid at the very worst is solid. And he has a chance to be much better than that if he fits into your system as well as we think he will. And then, he's going to have some weapons, but a lot of these guys are going to be young. So it's good to have a veteran presence like this. I looked it up, Tom. I think he started close to 40 games in his career. He's accounted for 80 touchdowns. So by the time, if he starts this whole season, by the time his season is over this year at Florida State in 2024, he'll be close to 100 career touchdowns, maybe more than that, which is what Jordan Travis had. So you're going from one. Obviously, I think Jordan Travis is a better player. This is a step down in talent level, I think, but not experience, and it's not a huge step down. And you just can't. So you're going from a veteran presence in Jordan Travis to another veteran guy. Now, a guy that's only going to be here for 8 months, or 11 months, but still. I think you can't overvalue and overstate how much it means to have a guy under center that has been in these moments, has played in these games, and will not be overwhelmed by anything. He knows what it is to be a starting quarterback in college football. This will be his 4th year doing it.
Yeah, and he's played in a bunch of big moments. His first start was on the road at Notre
Dame,
in a really tough spot, and he showed out that night. It looked like he was going to be the next in line for Clemson, and you're thinking, oh my God, they did it again.
Yeah,
and his career has taken some dips and turns from that point forward, but it always seemed, Corey, like he really wanted to be at Florida State. Like, we had the interview in person outside of the athletic offices on this channel on Warchant TV, and it seemed like he was of the energy that, hey man, if they want me, I want to be here.
Yeah.
And that, you can't say enough about that right now for a program that needs stability. They got it today. You're right to point out that Patrick Payton is back in the fold officially now, as the Battle's End announced that. And Darius Washington, the Swiss Army knife of 2023, is going to be one of your cornerstones on the offensive line for 2024. But you've got a kid who wants to be here, and that's really important for a program that needed some good news and stability. It seems like they got it today.
Absolutely, and I think that when you look ahead at this season, I think this raises the floor considerably. Look, they couldn't go in with just 2 freshmen at quarterback. They just couldn't. And I think the question you got to ask yourself is, if they had said, Tate, you're our guy in 2024, is this team better or worse than it is right now? And I think most everybody, maybe not all of you watching this, are thinking Florida State is a better football team with DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback than Tate Rodemaker at quarterback. I just think I just think the experience can't be overstated. I don't think 80 touchdowns, 9,000 total yards, again 40 starts. And look, I think he has a unique perspective on the Florida State program. He was on the Clemson team in 2020 when his head coach at the time called Florida State cowards for not wanting to get their heads kicked in 70-0. He watched the film of that team in 2020, and then he played him in 21, and he played him in 22, and then he saw from the other coast what they did in 23. So he has an appreciation, I think, for what this program, where it came from, that most transfers maybe wouldn't, because he played against this program and he saw how bad it was. So you talk about somebody that can believe in Mike Norvell's message, even if he's only here for 1 year. It's a guy that was on a team that beat him 9 straight times before Norvell until this past year. You know what I mean? Like, he's seen the absolute lows of Florida State, and now from afar, he saw how high they reached in 2023.
Yeah, agreed. And again, it's somebody that wants to be here and that the coaching staff clearly wanted. If you don't believe that this team is better off with DJU over Tate, well, the coaching staff did, because they brought in these guys for interviews, and the Tate Rodemaker situation had not finished. The developments went all the way up to Christmas Day, but part of the reason he left is because openly Florida State was courting Cam Ward and DJU. And now Florida State does have their quarterback for more coverage related to this development, because I would expect, Corey, more dominoes are going to be falling.
I was going to ask, Tom, what the dominoes that I think fall, and I have no inside knowledge. You're much more connected to the battles inside, the collective side, than I am. I'm just going ahead. We're pragmatically talking here. This is how we have to talk about college football in 2024. Mm-hmm. I'm imagining Cam Ward's asking price was probably a bit more than DJU's asking price. Yeah. I don't know that. I'm just going to go ahead and imagine that. You can nod your head. So, okay, maybe you didn't get the exact guy you wanted, but you got a reasonable facsimile, a very experienced guy from the Pac-12 that can play and has scored a bunch of touchdowns. And maybe that frees up some more money to go spend it on other positions clearly you need. So all in all, it feels like you talk about the dominoes falling. This is the first domino. Marvin Jones, I guess, get this first domino out of the way, figure out who your quarterback is going to be, and now go get all the toys to finish out this roster. And I think you're going to need, I don't know, man, 8 more, 10, 9 more. I mean, you're still going to be hitting the portal, but I think this frees up some money to go really help at other positions now that you got the quarterback position figured out.
Hey man, I'm like you. I don't mind saying the quiet part out loud. You know, this is the benefit, if there is one, to signing day and not closing with a couple of big name high school players, is you have more resources. It's not just about getting this quarterback versus Cam Ward. You also have more resources to go dip into the portal to help the now. I mean,
you could go get KJ Bolden next year anyway.
That's it. That's the pattern. Let them get their first contract somewhere else, get developed somewhere else, and then finish the deal in Tallahassee.
That's right.
Heady play, Mike Norvell. Mm-hmm. Yep. Heady play. More coverage on this development and more to come, I'm sure, at warchant.com. Also here on Warchant TV. Hit the like button underneath the video. Florida State got their quarterback. It's a new year, everybody. positivity only from here
That's
on
right.
out.
That's right.
He's Corey. I'm Tom. We'll talk to you next time on Warchant TV.